be able to speak and to bring a word to all the people who are gathered here. First of all, let me appreciate Albert and Comfort Okran for the tremendous work they are doing for our nation as they go all over the nation, inspiring, challenging young people to dream and to become better than they have been. It is voices like theirs that makes the difference in a generation. And for most of you young people, the next 10 years, next 20 years will become very important parts of your life. And if you can only see who you will become 10 years, 20 years from now, you will be glad at some of the important things happening to you now. I believe your future is going to be greater. I believe that you're going to have the best life possible, and you will be greater than some of us for all that we have done. Your generation will do far more and exceed and excel. You have spent the day listening to various speakers and being challenged and being inspired and being motivated to do great things with your life. Obviously, the concept of this year's event is to help us to envision 10 years from now and try to work our lives towards the next 10 years as to who we will become and what we can achieve. Many times when we try to work out our lives into the future, we set goals and we start taking steps. And I'm sure that you have gone through that process. Sometimes in life, people make comments like, I've done everything I was told to do, but I am not getting the results. I was told if I plan, I will be able to achieve my objectives. I have planned and I have not achieved my objectives. I was told if I had a 10-year plan, in the next 10 years, I will get to a certain point. And then 10 years come and you are nowhere near that point. Taking steps is important, but knowing where you are taking the steps to is probably more important, because you can take steps in circles and you can also take steps in a straight line. All of it will be steps, but one will let you go and end up at the same place you began over and over again without moving anywhere beyond where you started. And the other will get you moving forward. But even moving forward is not good enough, because you can move forward in the wrong direction. And you can move forward and end up in a place you didn't really expect to be, but you've moved forward anyway, but you didn't get to where you wanted to get to. Every game that we play, whether it's a board game, it's a video game, for most of you who are younger, that is what you play, video games, or a field game like football or some other game that we play. There are three important things to every game. First is the objective, what you want to be able to win at the end of the game. So if it's a game of football, then the objective is you must put that round leather in the goal post of your opponent. Every other thing is incidental. You can dribble the ball, head it, kick it, have a good formation, play nicely, but if you don't get the ball into the net, really you haven't achieved anything. So the objective is make sure you put the ball into the net. And so everybody who plays football has that objective, or everybody who plays a game has a certain objective. But every game has got obstacles. The obstacles are to make sure that you don't achieve your objective. And so if you are playing football, your objective is to put the ball in the net of the opponent's goalpost. But between you and that space there, there is a goalkeeper. And his objective is to make sure you don't achieve your objective. And then there are defenders, and then there are other players. And have you ever gone to a football pitch when there's no game being played? And how many of you have done that before? You go to the football pitch when there's no game being played, and you look at the playing field, and you look at the goalposts, and the goalposts are really big. Have you noticed how big goalposts are? I mean, you look at the goalposts, and it's a wide expanse of space. And you ask yourself, why can't we score? How can people play for 90 minutes goalless draw? The goalpost is so wide. And the ball is so small. It can go into so many corners in that space there. It can go to the upper left, upper right, upper center, lower right, lower center, middle, in between middle. I mean, there's so many, 1,000 different spots for that ball to enter. But you can play for 90 minutes and never score. So sometimes the objective looks like very easy. Oh, I can do it. It's so possible. But then you start playing the game and realize there are people preventing you from achieving your goal. So there are obstacles to every objective. And that is why you need the third, the most important, strategy. Strategy is what makes you overcome the obstacles. So there are objectives, there are obstacles, and there is a strategy. So in a football match, it's all about strategy. Some people defend and defend and defend and defend and defend, and then put in one goal. And defend and defend and defend, 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 and win, because they were able to put the ball across. Some people attack, 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 and put in a goal, and keep attacking, 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 and put so much pressure that the opponent never gets time to play back. And some people run and 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 get tired. And then now they can't run again. And they lose the game. So you find so many strategies being played. That's why you have a coach. And the coach is there trying to make sure that the players are able to get the strategy right. So I think when it comes to objective, it's very, very easy, because everybody knows what they want to achieve in life. If I ask everybody here, how many of you want to fail in the next 10 years? I don't think anybody wants to fail. How many of you have a vision to be poor? Is there anybody here with a great vision? My desire in life is to achieve poverty. Now, poverty, whether you you target it or not, will target you. So there's nobody here who will say, my objective in life is to be poor, or my objective in life is to have a very bad marriage. I want to be very unhappy in life. Nobody has that objective. So objective, everybody has a good plan. How many of you believe that 10 years from now you'll be millionaires? I'm sure. Yeah, okay. All right. And how many of you believe that 10 years from now you'll be healthy? Or everybody. And those of you who are not married now, 10 years from now, some of you shouldn't raise your hand because 10 years from now you won't be married still. But 10 years from now, you expect to be married. Okay, all right. So the objective is clear. You know the goal you want to score. You know what you want to achieve. One of the things I've come to realize over the years in life is that there are obstacles you see and there are obstacles you don't see. There are obstacles you can plan for and there are obstacles you cannot plan for because they haven't shown up yet. The obstacles that defeat us in life are not the ones we plan for, because the ones you plan for, you already see them. You know them. So you say, well, I know this is the obstacle and this is my strategy to overcome it. But somewhere in life, there will come obstacles you didn't plan for, you couldn't foresee, you couldn't anticipate. And it can come in different forms. In a football match, it could be that the team came up with a strategy that they haven't played before, or the new player came up who had skills that you hadn't planned for, or something happened like it rained on the football on the day of the match and you hadn't planned for raining, or you went to play on the grass and the grass was not good, or the ball was not inflated properly, which footballers sometimes complain about. I think it's a bad excuse anyway, but they will say the ball was not inflated properly, or the referee didn't like you. The referee was bribed. Now, all these are obstacles you may not have anticipated. You've just planned how to play your game, but you couldn't anticipate the obstacles that come your way. Normally, when they use VUCA to describe a situation, they describe a situation that has characteristics that nobody really planned for. If you watch old war movies, how many of you have watched old war? You watch old movies and there is war, especially like the wars that were fought in the 1700s and 1800s. It was a very, very orderly and disciplined war. As a matter of fact, in those days, people went with chairs to the battleground, take their chair, and women would go with their knitting and their crochet work and sit there and watch people fight. Very nice, very, very interesting. So the army goes, there's an army formation, there's a first group, they line up, and second group is behind them. They didn't have machine guns then, so you fix your gun, and the commander is there, says, pick up the instructions they gave to stand attention, weapons fixed, get ready, shoot. And the other people are waiting. They're waiting for you to go through all that process. And so you finish, they say, shoot, you should, boom. And some people die and fall down on the other side, and then the second batch comes up, and then it's their turn. And go through the process, and you wait to be shot. And there are people knitting, watching, and say, oh, what a funny shot, and oh, your husband just died. Things like that. It was so predictable. So when you were going to war, the generals knew what to anticipate, where the enemy will be, where he will come from, how the battle formation was. But these days, when ISIS is attacking, they don't say, weapons raised. No. It's totally unpredictable. And so you can have a general who is a very good general, trained to fight a certain battle, but the battle has changed. And if you don't understand how to fight that battle, you lose. In the past, when military people went to war, they'll say, well, America is going to fight in Vietnam, or Germany is going to fight in Poland. You knew where you were going to. Now you can't tell where you are going to. So the military came up with this phrase, VUCA, and it's an acronym. First, it means that the world has become, or the situation has become very volatile. It's become very volatile. What does it mean when we say something has become volatile? It means that it's happening very, very frequently, very quickly, very rapidly, and on a large scale. So all of a sudden, you don't have time to go and cock your gun again, because the enemy is not waiting for you to receive instructions to shoot. He's shooting before you even get into battle formation. It's become very volatile. And not only is it volatile, it's become very uncertain. It's become very uncertain. It means you can't predict with any precision. So your 10 steps, you say, well, I've learned 10 steps to success. So step 1, I must know what I have. Step 2, I must know how to build my talent. Step 3. Now by the time you get to step 3, somebody has booted your leg. He said, but that's not, I'm supposed to take step 4. But they won't give you the chance, because it's uncertain, it's volatile, it's uncertain, and it's complex. Complex. They're complicated. There's not just one single factor. There's several factors. And it's ambiguous. V-U-C-A. Ambiguous. VUCA. Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. When we say something is ambiguous, it means it doesn't have clarity. It changes very quickly. We saw it happening in the United States during the election. The whole election went VUCA. And everybody was used to elections run in a certain way, but somebody came and totally VUCA'd the whole system. And when he VUCA'd the system, people couldn't understand that step 1, step 2, step 3 is not working any longer. So they keep waiting. It should be step 4. But the guy has already changed the steps. Somebody has booted you from under your feet. And so people keep hoping it will return to normal. It's not returning to normal. The game is changed. And that is what happens in life. Now, you have learned some very, very important things about how to set a goal, and how to set a vision, and how to have a mentor, and how to plan, and how to do all kinds of things well. But something can come and VUCA your whole system. And all of a sudden, every plan you had doesn't make sense again. Now what happens is maybe somebody comes and changes the rule. Or something happens and changes the rules. The ground game is changed totally. But life is not going to say, because the rules are changed, life is going to be very nice to you and kind, and say, oh, okay, we change the rules, so we'll give you the next 2 years to recalibrate and really study the rules and play again. No, that's not how life works. So the rules change, and it's moving in a new direction. But you must still pursue your objective, because you want to be a millionaire. So in spite of all of that, you still want to achieve what you want to achieve. Now, what does it mean? It means to us, and especially for those of you who are very young, as so much happens that changes. Now, some of the things that change may be things that change in your life. Your life just goes through some bizarre change. It may be things that happens in your family. And you have planned, my daddy says you do this for me and do that, and he's no more. Or you say to yourself, I will do this, I will do that, and something happens and everything changes. Or the country you live in goes through changes. It could be any kind of change. All of a sudden there is political upheaval, and your plans are thrown out of gear. The people who succeed in life are not only those who are able to follow the steps neatly, and sometimes the rules don't change and you can follow your steps, but the people who really succeed are those who are able to adapt very quickly to the new changes happening around them. So one of the things I want to encourage all the young people here is you must be very quick to understand when changes happen around you. Be very quick to understand it. And don't complain against a change you cannot unchange. There are changes you can do something about. You can change them back. Yes, you can complain and do something about them. But there are changes you can't do anything about. If you are a student and the CD is depreciating, you can't do anything about it. What are you going to do? You are in Form 3. But the CD is depreciating. You can't do anything about it. Even most of us adults cannot do anything about it. You can't stop that change from happening because the factors are way bigger than you. But you have to learn to adapt. If there is any skill I am going to encourage you to develop in the next 10 years as you plan your life is the ability to think quickly when change happens. The ability to think quickly when change happens. The ability to re-strategize when change happens. The ability to still keep your objective in focus when change happens. Now, so let's say I want to be a millionaire. I'm not going to say, well, CD has depreciated and everything is in a mess, so I won't be a millionaire again now. I'll be a thousandaire. No. I'll still be a millionaire because you don't have to let the change your objective. The change is only changing the way the game is played, but the objective must still be the same. The objective is still, I need to score that goal. I need to be able to get to that point. But the factors in the game has changed. So when things change, your objectives must remain the same. Your strategy will change, but your objectives remain. And not only that, you yourself have to undergo a lot of changes. Now, one of the big problems for us as Africans, everybody here is an African, isn't it? Almost everybody. Maybe there's somebody who is not, but is in a minority. The biggest factor is that we want the rules to always be the same. And when the rules change, we complain, the rules have changed. Why did they change it? Why did they change the rules? The rules should be, you should bring back the rules. 10 years after the rules have changed. You know, the rules used to be this way 10 years ago. They've changed it. They should bring back the rules. They should bring back the rules. We have to protest. They should bring back the rules. 20 years. The rules used to, 20 years ago, this is how we used to do it. The rules have to be the same. 50 years. The rules, you remember 50 years ago, the rules were like this. They change it. They have to bring it back. And it never strikes us. It's not coming back. It never strikes us. So, most African leaders, Up until recent, maybe now it's changed, but they spend their time talking about, and we were there, and the British came, and the colonizers were there, and the colonizers, and they changed the rules, and they took our money, and they took our gold, and they took our... Yes, the rules changed. The rules changed. People didn't allow us to live in our country. Yes, they colonized us. Yes. But we have to play the game. And sometimes in trying to play the game, we always want to go backwards into what we comfortably call culture. This is our culture. This is how we were before the white man messed us up. This is how we used to eat before the white man came and messed us up. This is how we used to dress before they messed us up. This is how we used to manage our life. By the way, they've messed you up. Now, you cannot go back to 1844 and change the rules because it's changed. And the reason, one of the biggest reasons why we are not able to play the game with the rest of the world is when the game, the rules change and the configuration changes, we spend the rest of our time complaining about the change which has happened and never studying how to play the new game. And until you are able to do that, you will always be behind. But if we are able to do that, I can guarantee you Africa can change, Ghana can change in less than 10 years. It doesn't take a long time for a nation to change, by the way. It takes a very short time. And that change doesn't just happen because people want it, but they learn to play the game as it is on this field. In the next 10 years, I don't know what will happen in your personal life. I see some of you with your nice uniform here. I can almost see myself many years ago in a uniform like that. White shirt. Living my life. Now, for those of you here, some of you here are probably about, how many years how old are you? 17. Okay. 16, 17. 14. You are old, though. Now, if somebody is 17 years, 10 years from now, they'll be 27. Say, 27. Hey! But 27 will come like water. Before you realize you're 27, say, hey, me? Yeah. And not only are you 27, you'll be 37 very soon. All right. Now, for some people, the thing that changes the game for them is just that, the boy that they like in school, this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend, I like her, she likes me, and then the girl leaves him. Say, I don't know why she left me. I don't know why she left me. I don't know why she left me. Am I not ugly? Am I not? And they will sing that song for 10 years. I don't know why she left me. She left you. Get over it. You've been left. You've been left. I used to work in a particular place, and I had this co-worker who is not 17, he was older, way older. And his girlfriend left him. His girlfriend left him. And where I worked was an art studio. And so he came to work. He was sharpening a pencil. And before we realized, there was blood all over the place. Started sharpening his finger without knowing. The game had changed. The game will change. The game will change. Things will change. Life will not always go the way you plan it or how you thought it would be. But you must always play the game. And you must always keep your objectives. And you must always find new ways of getting to your destination. Until you have that mindset, disappointment in life would make you abandon your ideals. Within every change that happens, there will be new opportunities. Within every change, there will be new opportunities. Now, sometimes the opportunity would come from an angle you never thought it should come from. You thought the door should always be right in front of you, but there's been a rotation of the room. So your eyes are fixed in the same place, but the door is now on your side, and you have to be able to see it. One of the things you can be very sure of is that no matter how much the game changes, God will always give you opportunity. You will always have opportunity. But the opportunity may not be where you want it to be, because it's a VUCA world. It is volatile. It is uncertain. It is what? Complex. And it is ambiguous. And it will continue to be. So now in the US Army, they're learning to fight new enemies. All the soldiers they drilled, 1, 2, 1, 2, doesn't work again. Because ISIS is working differently. Show up, enemy, so we see you and fight you. He's not showing up. Now, no matter how much you cry, he won't show up. But he's still fighting you. That's how life is. And for us as Africans, we have to learn to quickly move, quickly change, quickly adapt. The other time I was telling my church, I said, be careful what you call African. Be careful what you call African. I am an Africanist, very, very Africanist. But you have to be very careful what you call African. Because Africa in 2017 is not Africa in 1717. So I cannot say the Africa of 1717 has to be the same Africa of 2017. And I cited the example, for example, of the way people eat. You know, people, you give people kenke and fish, they say, I have to go African. That means I have to eat with my fingers. Now, whoever told you that eating with fingers is African? Who told you that? Eating with fingers is simply an antiquated, unhygienic way of eating. That's all. The British used to eat with their fingers. The Romans used to eat with their fingers. The Greeks used to eat with their fingers. The Japanese used to eat with their fingers. The Chinese used to eat with their fingers. After some time, they realized the finger gets too dirty. So now let's get utensils to be extension of our fingers. Some use chopsticks, some use steel or, is it steel? Stainless steel. So that they can clean it properly. Dirt doesn't stick on it to eat their food. Now we say no. Everybody has moved, but we are committed. The game has changed, but we will play it our way. That's the African way. Everybody has changed. Do you know that we are not the only ones who carry our chiefs? Do you know that? The Romans used to carry their chiefs. The Greeks used to carry their chiefs. Everybody used to carry their chiefs on their head. Everybody has stopped. But we will carry. Very dedicated people. That same attitude, it may seem, but this is just about chieftaincy and carrying chiefs. Oh, that's okay, just do it once a year. Yeah, it's okay. I don't have problem if you want to do it once a year and carry people once a year. That's acceptable. I'm not going to fight against it. You want to eat with your fingers? I don't have problem with it. What I have problem with is the attitude that makes you do that. It's not the thing itself, but it's the mindset that makes you say, everybody used to do this and has led, but as for us, we have gathered everybody's past practices and we have made it our own, and we won't change today, we won't change tomorrow. So when the rules of the world changes, the economic rules change, the global rules change, the trade rules change, we still play it the same way. In the 1920s, 1923 thereabouts, by 1923, Ghana was a leading exporter of cocoa in the whole world. We started long. We became big, great, very early. But, the governor at that time, Guggisberg and his folks, said that, these Africans are great. We can let them plant their cocoa, and we'll use it to get the state to take all the money. So all the money must belong to the state, and so on and so forth. And it's used to finance the budget. And so cocoa became our main economic stay. And so we created cocoa marketing boards, and the state buys all the cocoa. That's almost 100 years ago. We're still doing the same way. We're still doing the same way. You ask people, they say, you can't, cocoa is the mainstay of the Ghanaian. Cocoa is the mainstay of the Ghanaian. The game has changed. Even the guy who set the game rule for us, he died, and his people have changed the game. But we're going to play the same way. We're going to play the same way. So policymakers can't even think. Let's change it. Because what you expect is a country that now we are the third or fourth largest producer of cocoa. I don't care whether we're 10th or 4th. It's not that important. You would expect that every little corner of Ghana would have a cottage industry based on cocoa. That we are producing 1,000 varieties of chocolate. Pepper chocolate, ginger chocolate, Kosi chocolate, Agidi chocolate. I mean, when somebody comes to Ghana and says, you will taste chocolate you can't taste anywhere because this is the headquarters of cocoa. But the rules were set for us, and we are very, very obedient. So it never changes. It stays as it is. Government after government after government after government after government. The mind remains. So my problem is not that we eat with our fingers. Once in a while I do. Once in a very long while. Very long. Recently I ate with my fingers and it felt so awkward because I took a vow with myself never to eat with my fingers again. Never. I said, this thing, it's good for Konfanochi, but he didn't have a spoon, he didn't have a fork, he didn't have knife. I have spoon, I have fork, I have knife. I have to do it differently. I'm sure if Konfanochi comes and sees it, hey, you people, you are still doing it the same way he himself will be upset with us. I took a personal vow years ago that I'll stop eating fufu. I stopped eating fufu. Not that I don't like it, I like it. Not for health reasons, but for annoyance reasons. Any food that if you have to eat, you have to punish yourself this way to eat. I said, what is the sense in this? What is the sense? And the anointing, when you are sweating, your sweat is going into the thing. You are mixing sweat and all kinds of, now you don't even know, and even the mortar, there are all kinds of dry fufu in the corners, all kinds of bacteria. This is an ecosystem for bacteria. 5 years of bacteria, we're still pounding the thing in there. And people say, this is what we like. Because, Africans, we don't know what kills us. The thing is killing us, but we say it's a witch. So because we never identify objectively where our problem is, it's a witch somewhere. So somebody poisoned him. Says this happened, but we never come to think of it. This fufu we've been pounding in this mortar, which is not sanitized and has left over things in the corners, which becomes breeding grounds for all kinds of bacteria. What impact does it have on our life? I don't think we've researched that. We haven't. So the problem I have is not that we are pounding fufu. By all means, if you pound fufu, go ahead, God bless you, pound it. I don't have problem with you pounding your fufu. And people say, well, now we do it another way. But once I move. Whether you even find a new way or not, I've moved. Just leave that thing. Yeah, some people even say I've become a white man. Am I a white man? How can I become I can never become a white man. I'm a black man from birth, black man forever. Because somehow we equate a new way of thinking to being white, and the old way of thinking to being black. I don't have a problem with that. The problem is I see a direct correlation between that attitude that makes us behave in those ways. And it's not only in Ghana, it's in Nigeria, it's in every African state. That makes us adopt these habits, also affects the way we respond to global changes around us. Now, for all of you people, are you going to live here saying, I won't eat fufu again? That's not what I'm saying. I just use it as illustration. You can eat it forever. That's your problem. It's not mine. Maybe you do better with bacteria. I mean, that's who knows? Maybe your body is so acclimatized to it that without it, it won't grow. So I will leave you to your bacteria. But what I'm saying is that every game in life, every strategy in life requires three things. There is an objective. something you want to achieve. Now, most of you have that fixed in your head. I want to be great. I want to achieve that. I want to be that. I want to be that. That's number one. But there will be obstacles. The obstacles, there are some you can see, and there are some you cannot see. There are some you can plan for, and there are some you cannot plan for. There will be all kinds of obstacles coming your way. It can be a broken heart. It can be unrest in the national economy. It can be a family problem. It can be a global problem. We have Donald Trump as president of the United States. He's running his country the way he wants. We are angry with the way he wants to run his country. You say, well, he doesn't want us to go to his country. Is it your country? So, that's Africa. We are fighting battles we can't do anything about. So that changes dynamics. Maybe you were planning, I'm going to go for a visa at a certain time. Now you're not sure whether you'll get a visa or not. You don't know what the rules will be. So you find that things will happen that will make it difficult for the strategy you have to work. But there's always going to be an objective. Keep it straight. There will be obstacles. You can predict some, many you can't predict. You must always have a strategy. For a strategy to work, it must be adaptable. It must be adaptable. Don't complain about the change of the game. Always find out, how do I play it now? It's changed. How do I play it now? I wanted to go to America. Now I can't go. What do I do now to get to where I want to go? Do I change from America to now make it, I have to go to Kumasi in order to achieve? That may be your strategy. That what you wanted to do in America, you can now do in Kumasi. Or you do in Boku. Or maybe you do in Gambia now that they have a new president. Or do it somewhere else. But you can't sit back and say, as for this man, this man is spoiling the world. Or, this man is spoiling the world. Or, yes, yeah. Whatever you think, what are you going to do about it? You can't always complain about the problem. And if there's anything I want us to understand, is the world is not going to be nice to us. And the world is not going to be sympathetic to us. And the world is not going to design the game and come and place it at our footstool and say, Ghanaians, this is now your game. Play it. That's not how it's played. The world is going to move and things are going to change. But the one constant you must always have is my objective. I need to be a millionaire. I need to be a successful person. I need to get on with my life. I need to have a good marriage. I need to have good health. These objectives adapt and you will be successful. I came to encourage my 17-year-old children over there. Well, you're even younger than my children, but my 17-year-old friends over there. Your world is going to be more VUCA than mine. Oh yeah, you think the world is a mess now, wait till your turn. It will be more messy, it will be more uncertain. I just read today that they're thinking of making robots pay tax. I say, all the things you're training for, in 10 years time robots will be doing it, so you find out that the robot has taken your job and paying taxes. And you've been declared redundant. Have to work very fast. You have to work very fast. And if there's any mindset I want you to develop from this time, especially for these young people, think fast, act quickly, study situations very quickly, respond, don't complain, respond, find a new way, find a new direction. Look for the new door God is opening. Look for the new opportunity. Find new things happening, because there will always be something new for you in your future. And if you keep your eyes looking for that door, you would never, ever miss it. I wish you the best next 10 years of your life. And I pray that no matter the VUCA circumstance that you live in, that you rise up to the top and you will achieve your objectives. God bless you.